The AP top 25 for the preseason is out, and so is Virginia. Virginia not in the top 25. I'm not surprised, I guess. Chris Graham here on the podcast. Not surprised that Virginia's not in it, but also this is reflection of how the national media is missing big time on this Virginia basketball team. This team is going to be dramatically better than last year's team. And for context on what that means, what I'm saying there, last year's team spent half the season ranked in the top 10, and I'm just kind of guessing there. I think it was more than half the season ranked in the top 10, was ranked as high as number 2, got a number 4 overall national seed in the NCAA tournament. Obviously, the NCAA tournament selection committee figured a top 16 team at the end of the season, shared the ACC regular season title with Miami, also went to the ACC championship game, lost to Duke in that. And this year's team's going to be better than that team. And this Virginia team, not in the top 25. In fact, not even close. I think they were 6th or 7th in the others receiving votes. Duke, of course, is number 2 because Duke is Duke. North Carolina, number 19, didn't even make the NCAA tournament a year ago. Lost his leading scorer, Caleb Love. They're trying to claim addition by subtraction there. Miami lost Isaiah Wong, the ACC Player of the Year, didn't replace him. They're number 13 preseason. This is what the national media does. They kind of fly in. They don't really pay attention. And that's fine. The national media narrative about Virginia was formed in the immediate aftermath of that last-second loss to Furman down in Orlando. It doesn't feel like it's been that long since I was there, but it was just about 7 months ago. That three-pointer went in from about 30 feet. Oh, God, I still can't forget that. I'm sure you can't either. Then the program going into the offseason, which was already set to lose, Virginia was already set to lose K.A. Clark, Jaden Gardner, Ben Vanderplas, and then Armand Franklin decided to forego his last year of eligibility. He would have been a grad transfer, but he decided to try to make an NBA or G League roster. He just got cut by Denver. You will see. I would assume he'll get picked up by a G League, maybe even Denver's G League team. And then Caden Shedrick and Isaac Trout, decided to transfer out. Shedrick ended up at Texas. Trout ended up at Creighton. So the narrative that emerged was Virginia was going to have to be rebuilding almost from scratch, which is not the case. But even with the rebuild, look at what Tony Bennett was able to do, and you'll see why I'm saying this team's going to be better this year. Off the transfer portal, Andrew Rohde, 6'6" point guard who scored 17.4 points per game at St. Mary's, Horizon League player of freshman of the year. Jordan Minor from Merrimack, a 6'8" beast in the post, scores most of his points. He was a 17 points per game scorer as well. Most of his points there in the post within 5 feet. And then Virginia kind of lucked out into having Reese Beekman, who declared for the NBA draft and looked a certainty to be going to the NBA draft, actually decided to return for his senior season. So you throw in Dante Harris, who already had transferred in from Georgetown, had to sit out last year because of transfer rules. He's a good comparison skill set wise to Clark. I think K.A. Clark has lots of UVA records. He won a national championship as a freshman with that great team in 2019. Dante Harris may be an improvement on Clark. And we'll see. That's a big hill to climb, but he may actually be an improvement on Clark. I don't know if you'll see the improved numbers. I don't think he'll play quite as much as Clark, certainly this coming year with Beekman back. But in the last couple of years of Harris, I think you'll see that he'll put up some pretty good numbers. There's a 1-year transfer in Oklahoma, 6'9" floor spacer, Jake Groves. I think he's an improvement on Ben Vanderplas. Honestly, he's a really good shooter from the outside, a good rebounder, a little sturdier. You've got incoming freshman Elijah Gertrude, who's just a fantastic athlete, great high school prep player, 4-star recruit, one of the best top recruits that Tony Bennett's ever gotten. And then you almost want to feel like this is another recruit, even though Leon Bond was part of the class of 2022. Leon Bond is a guy 6'5" who redshirted last year, who looks to be just ready to burst out. Isaac McNeely comes back. He'll be a sophomore. That shooter, a 6'4" guy, pretty stout guy on the perimeter, good defender. Blake Buchanan coming in, 4-star recruit. I keep saying that. Guy that chose Virginia over Gonzaga, 6'10" motor guy with touch in the mid-range. You've got Ryan Dunn, a guy who is a projected first-round pick next year. He was going to walk on at UVA. A four-star recruiter was going to walk on at UVA because UVA was out of scholarships last year. Only played 12 minutes a game, only scored 2.6 points a game, and he's now a projected first-round pick next year just based on his athleticism and potential. Expect him to step up this year, right? So that's 10 guys competing for what's likely going to be 8 roster spots. That doesn't even count the 3-star recruit Anthony Robinson, 6'10", 238-pounder, who's getting some rave reviews from his work in practice early on here in the preseason. The hyper-athletic walk-on Desmond Roberts, if you haven't seen, search him on Google, look for videos. There are some dunks that you'll see. He's a walk-on from St. Anne's Belfield, right there in Charlottesville. I'm not saying that just because he can do these fantastic dunks that he's going to get playing time, but he's certainly a really good practice player, if nothing else. And then there's Tane Murray, 6'5" guard, will be a junior this year. And if you remember, maybe you won't remember, but he actually earned playing time in rotation minutes at the end of last season. So 13 guys competing for 8 spots. This might be the deepest team Tony Bennett's ever had. And certainly the most athletic he's had since that 2019 championship team. It's going to be markedly better on defense than what you've seen the last 2 or 3 years. I'll go back to the 2020, 2021 team, the first post-COVID team. Wasn't very good defensively for Virginia standards. It was still a top 10% team nationally, but not what Tony Bennett standards would make you expect, right? I think this team will be better. It's more athletic, and you got guys who can move, and you got a lot of guys too, so that you don't have to kind of lay off to worry about foul trouble, that kind of thing. I think it'll be better on offense too, better perimeter shooting. The guards can get in the lane. You got a guy in the post in Minor who can score in the post, which will be helpful when the shots aren't falling from the outside. So there's so much about this team that I like. But the writers who come up with polls, they only look at, they lost to Furman. They lost all those guys from last year. They're not going to be better. Mark my words, it's October 16th, 2023. Next March 7th, 8th, whatever that day is, the final Saturday of the regular season, this Virginia team will be the ACC regular season champions. There it is. For more from Augusta Free Press, go to our website, augustafreepress.com. Check us out. You can go to YouTube and watch videos. You can get me on podcasts. There's a lot of ways to check out what we have to say about UVA athletics and lots of things. So please do so. And if you want to email me any questions, comments, mailbag items you want me to address in a future column, email me at chris@augustafreepress.com. Everyone have a great day, please.